It's cold and overcast, but otherwise a tremendous championship feeling today at Hofstra's Schuert Stadium. Today, Verizon Fios One Sports presents the Nassau County Playoffs. It's a Nassau Boys Lacrosse B Championship game. This is one of the big ones. As the defending B champion Garden City Trojans at 14-3, they take on their old rival, the Manhasset Indians. They're the 1 seed, coming in at 14-2. Having a look at the Nassau County Class B bracket, Garden City was able to pull away from Hewlett in the second half, and Manhasset eventually pulled away from Southside in their semifinal. And with that, hello and welcome here again to Hofstra Schuert Stadium. Once again with Carrie Gluck, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. So the longest continuous rivalry in boys lacrosse across the nation gets the bigger stage here today. The Woodstick Classic is now here at Hofstra. Defending champion Garden City took care of Manhasset last year by a pair. Both teams carry against Super. It was a 10-8 Manhasset regular season win. We expect another tight, close game.
Hey, you could not have written the script any better for this game, Ralph. You've got the #1 team in Nassau County among the B class against the #2 team in Nassau in the B class. And add to it, #1 in New York State in the B class against #2 in New York State in the B class. And I think it is safe to say that one of these two teams could very easily become the next New York State B class champion. And what do we have? Well, we have two teams that are chock full of the D1 prospects. Two teams that are capable of double-digit offenses. Two teams that are very stingy defensively. And the fact of the matter is, in the last 3 years, the winner of the Woodstick Classic has won this very game, the Nassau County B-Class Championship. So we have the makings of a great one today.
So, Carrie, who are the difference makers for Garden City up front? They have a rarity, a 4-year starter at any part of the field, and at the attack position, J.P. Basile, a senior signed with Duke. He is their difference maker.
Well, J.P. is the leading scorer, returning as an all-county player. He has 58 points, 25 and 33. I love the distribution on goals and assists. He's a big kid. He is a tough kid. And he creates a mismatch for most defenses because of his size. And if you're not on his gloves, if you're not on his hands, he will dissect a defense.
And meanwhile, for Manhasset, they have a Michigan signee. Kevin Mack is their quarterback. He helped pump in 10 goals in the regular season win in the Woodstick against the stingy Garden City defense.
Well, Kevin Mack's having a great year. He is also a leading scorer, 62 points on the season. He is also the quarterback of the offense. He runs the show. He loves to drive the alleys. He's got a hard right-hand shot. He, too, will create a lot of problems for the defense of any team, but certainly for Garden City, they know Kevin Mack.
So for the 4th time in the last 7 years, Garden City and Manhasset meet in the final. For the 6th time in the last 7 years, they meet in the playoffs. And all but one have been nail-biting kind of games. We're coming back for Garden City and Manhasset. The Woodstick reaches Hofstra on Verizon Fios One Sports. It doesn't get much better than this for Long Island High School boys lacrosse. Garden City and Manhasset meeting today to decide Nassau County Class B in the championship game for the 2nd straight year and 4th out of the last 7 seasons. Ralph Bednarczyk alongside Carrie Gluck. Let's have a look at our two teams. Garden City will be the road team in this matchup as the 2 seed. Sean Coughlin, J.P. Basile, and Finn Gibbons on the attack, with Atkinson, Steinbach, and Luke Keating running the first midfield. Phil Puccio, the returning starter defensively, joined by Timmy Gormley and sophomore Colin Hart. And in goal for Garden City, Teddy Dolan has assumed the job late in the season. He's in his 3rd year in the varsity, 62 saves in the season. And back in the regular season meeting against Manhasset, April 29th, he made 8 saves, 6 stops against Hewlett in the B semifinals. Under the guidance of 11th year head coach Steve Fennell, he is out of the Garden City class of 1991 before playing lacrosse at Duke. He was an all-Long Island football player and a great midfielder during his time. Today for the Manhasset Indians. At 14-2, they've won 10 straight. John Silos, a first-year starting in the attack, has had a breakout season with Logan Hyde and Kevin Mack. Luke Bastiglione, Steven Schneider, and Chris Glynn run the first midfield with Nolan Parisi, Ed Arnold, and James Amorasana being the close defenders. In goal, the senior Brendan Hegarty, returning all-county players, made 109 saves, a Villanova signee, and a 2-year starter. The new head coach of the Manhasset Indians is back after spending some time here as an assistant. Keith Cromwell, first-year head coach, last year was the head coach at Locust Valley before they eventually lost to eventual New York State champion Cold Spring Harbor in the C final. And Carrie, ahead of this great matchup, let's have a look at your Verizon Fios Win Sports keys to the game.
Well, first and foremost, Keenan Gunn has got to go 50% plus at faceoffs against Mark Silos, who has been just improving on the season, and they've got to control the tempo of this game. Manhasset's looking for some transition production. They love to run, and they've got to pressure J.P. Basile, who can pick you apart if you don't pressure him.
So Garden City, the defending champions, will be the road team in the maroon on maroon unis, white on white for Manhasset. Here's the playoff rivalry. The Woodstick Classic goes back to 1935. In the playoffs, a little bit different. This is the 10th meeting in the championship game, and Manhasset has only won one time. So the Indians have had a tough time in this matchup, but they've generally all been extremely competitive, including last season's 7-5 Garden City win, in which Manhasset blew a 5-1 lead heading into the fourth quarter. And many of the Manhasset players, such as Steven Schneider, have mentioned how motivated they were all summer long just to get back to this game today.
Well, there's a lot on this game. Certainly Manhasset remembers last year's county final. They want to avenge that. Garden City remembers the Woodstick Classic. They want to avenge that loss during the season. So both teams have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder coming into today, Ralph.
The lone time Manhasset has ever beaten Garden City in this game was in 1995. Mark Silas, the freshman face-off man against Kieran Gunn of Garden City, and we are underway. As this one is pushed forward and it'll be controlled by the wings, and the Trojans come up with the first ground ball, and it's a tough one by Danny Bacafola, with our officials Joe Rizampollock, Mike McCloskey, and Bob Arabian doing the honors here today. Winner off to the Long Island Class B championship game, taking on the winner between Eastport South Manor and East Islip, and two newbies to that stage in Suffolk County against these two teams that are accustomed to playing in big games and having a lot of pressure on them and all the spotlight as Sean Coughlin goes outside for Jamie Atkinson, and Manhasset in a man-to-man defense. So Carrie, some early thoughts. We talked about your keys, controlling the tempo. A year ago, just a 7-5 game. We expect this one to be played more in the 6-on-6.
Well, there was a number of goals were scored on the 6-on-6, but transition played a part for both these teams in last year's game, especially for Manhasset, when they felt that perhaps 4 or 5 of the goals that they scored were off the transition or the unbroken or the broken play.
Sean Coughlin, first-year starter at the attack, that will play on the beautiful campus of High Point in North Carolina. Moves it along to Steinbach, and the Trojans will dodge from up top. Atkinson, here's the game's first shot, save made by Haggerty off the stick of Kyle Steinbach. And Brendan Haggerty last year had 6 saves in this B championship game, so he brings back the experience of that one if it does come down to 1 goal or 1 stop along the line.
That was a nice rip by Steinbach, but he put it right up high on the stick side, made it an easier save for Haggerty to come up with it.
Mack, and into the stick of Logan Hyde. Hyde with 2 goals against Southside in the B semifinal. John Silos with a big game too with 3. Silos had 2 and 1 in the regular season meeting. As everybody gets a touch for the Indians, Glynn, and along for Luke Bastiglione, who has the short stick matchup. The Trojans, the number 2 defense in Nassau County. They have their hands full today. Mack, as Mack works against the sophomore Hart. Played across as Mack thought he had a cutter, and Garden City will come up with a takeaway. Tim Gormley on the pickup, and the Trojans look for the clear.
That was a nice defense by Garden City. They took away that little pass to the inside, which is what Manhasset was looking for. They were looking to find the man right in the slot on the crease area, and the good defense took that away.
Fitzgibbons into the box as he is defended by the outstanding sophomore Ed Arnold. And there is Arnold, only a sophomore, but is committed to UPenn, and one of the very, very talented players in the country at that position. And outside, Trevor Yaboa Cody gets a run, as the Trojans consistently have had Jamie Atkinson, Luke Keating. Then the third spot on the midfield has been an area Steve Fennell has been looking to see who will come up with the big game or emerge. We've seen Kieran Gunn play that spot, Kyle Steinbach, and Yaboa Cody.
Now they play it with a unit and run that third midfielder in to try and create some different looks.
Coughlin, after Keating was tied up, Sean Coughlin comes up with a loose ground ball behind as he's chased by the terrific long stick midi Ben Sorella, a Michigan signee, a returning first-team All-Long Island player. One of the top polls in the county. Basile's shot, this one may not have gotten through, and Haggerty comes up with the loose ground ball, and here comes transition perhaps for Manhasset. And for the Indians, as we talked to Keith Cromwell, they hope in a game like this to get a couple of extra goals, and that means transition. The speed that the Indians have led by this young man, number 32 in white, who could be the fastest midfielder on the island. They hope they can get a couple of supporting goals that may make the difference in a championship.
Well, they just love to run, and that's what Manhasset likes to do. They push the ball. They like to get in transition. They want to get down into the offensive zone before the defense gets set, and that's really been their key to success over the course of this season.
And Schneider gets a chance to run downhill. Wukta is able to force him to the alley. So the Trojans handle that well and force a 6-on-6 with Mack. As Mack tries to turn the corner, and the windows are just so tight whenever you take on the Trojans. Feed inside, a little too tight for Logan Hyde, and the Garden City defense has come up with 2 takeaways as Colin Hart looks to start the clear.
Again, defense did a nice job. They took away that inside look to Hyde, and once again come up with the ground ball. That's very important. This defense is really setting the tone for Garden City right now.
As Trevor Yeboah-Cody was about to potentially be decked, Steve Fennell with a well-timed timeout to rescue a potential turnover and or transition opportunity. He'll keep it here as we have played about 5 minutes here in this opening quarter and still scoreless. So the Trojans, how did they get here? They're 14-3 against their usual great schedule and winners of 5 in a row. And they came off the heels of a terrific season full of adversity last year where they went 14-6. A look at last year's highlights played here with some sunshine, as there was a goal in front by Jack Keogh. Eventually, Garden City climbed Cary out of a 5-1 deficit at the start of the fourth quarter. J.P. Basile had 3 goals, and it stunned Manhasset that day.
And there you see how well J.P. Basile attacks the cage, and he uses his size so well to protect the stick. And that's what makes him also so effective. His big size really allows him to do a lot of different things, feed and score.
And just all the thoughts after that game, a lot of credit was given by then Manhasset coach Bill Cherry to the way Garden City just would not give up in that one. They got a good game in goal from Sam Lucchese, who made 11 saves, a senior that put together perhaps his finest game of his career. And Steve Fennell saying our kids refused to quit, trailing 3-0, then 5-1 into the fourth. But they made a little bit of an adjustment to free up J.P. Basile a bit. He scored 3 goals, and the momentum was just too much, and Manhasset, to their credit, they were also missing Jack Keogh. We'll talk about that story, but Keogh was very limited due to injury, the quarterback of their offense. And the Indians on the losing end of a 7-5 score, but that's what makes this game great, is that no matter who's playing, who's there, what the score is, you have some terrific lacrosse.
You cannot count either team out in this game when these two teams meet. Both teams are so aggressive, and they go to the cage, and they are so prolific. They're capable of scoring, as Garden City is averaging over 10 goals a game, while Manhasset's averaging over 12 goals a game. Both teams are very effective and tough to beat defensively.
Atkinson got it across midfield and into the stick of Kyle Steinbach, who had 1-1 against Hewlett in the B semifinals. And Finn Gibbons outside. The Trojans will dodge against the short stick, but Manhasset has probably one of the best tandems of short stick D-middies across Long Island. And we'll talk about the tremendous talents of Gillen Caliendo and Peter Conlon. Look at a rollback, Luke Keating. And Keating, all over his hands is James Amarasana. He's a verbal to Marquette. Now he comes out in front, Gibbons shooting. That's wide of goal, but there is backup to keep it with the Trojans.
Well, Gibbons usually sits on the left wing, but on that last offensive move to the cage, he drove from X into his right.
So Basile works on Ben Sorella. What a matchup that is. Basile finds himself free and scores. A very small window. It appeared Manhasset was trying to pass him off to the next defender, but that defender was not there.
I think there was some miscommunication on the defense of Manhasset, because you cannot give Basile that much room. They were expecting a slide over. It never came, and you gave Basile time, space, got his hands free, and he just lets a nice shot go down high to low. Basile gets Garden City on the board for the first goal of the game.
4 goals and an assist against Hewlett in the semifinals, and 1 and 2 against Manhasset in the regular season. And it is their senior leader of the attack that gets them started. And here's going to be another key area. Gunn and Silos as Silos approaches. Schneider chases for the Indians. And they're going to point the ball to Garden City. So the Trojans, despite their face-off issues against Manhasset in the regular season, Steve Fennell estimated we were probably only about 33% against Mark Silos, where here they've won the first 2.
And Mark Silos, over the course of the season, has really just improved game by game. Had an outstanding game in the semifinal, winning 19 of 22 faceoffs.
Trevor Baptiste numbers of Denver, the All-American and who's been the best faceoff guy the last 3 years in the country in Division I. Atkinson. As Atkinson rolls back, and he got a good look.
That's the 5th shot for Garden City, while their defense has held Manhasset without a shot so far in this first period.
Basile gets free of Sorella again, and nearly from the same spot. And that is playing with danger there for Manhasset.
As he rolls out of that dodge, you saw the separation that was created by Atkinson on that last shot with the left hand to get his hands free.
And again, Basile, and right now he is winning a physical matchup against the outstanding Ben Sorella. Sorella, a 3-year starter at Long Stick Midi, and already as I said, first-team All-Long Island, 2-time All-County player. And Basile is going right at him.
That's going to be a great matchup all day with Basile and Sorella. Both seniors, outstanding players in Nassau County.
Atkinson has the bowl on him outside. And Steinbach with Keating. One of the other subtle changes that Manhasset coach Keith Cromwell is going to make was provide a pole over to Luke Keating, who has had a great senior year. He came on at the end of last year. As here's Keating outside, and we're seeing him matched up against James Omarasana being bumped up. So just those subtle changes, as there's a shot on the run by Atkinson, but the subtle changes that each coach has made to try to turn the 10-8 regular season game a little bit to their favor.
And just to show a different look, too. You got to keep the opponent honest. And so moving the pole up on Keating, and because Keating has played well. He had a great game in the semifinal. He had 4 and 2, 4 goals, 2 assists in their last game.
And also Luke Keating was Garden City's leading scorer out of their 8 goals. He had 4 goals and an assist in the Woodstick Classic April 29th. As Coughlin is well defended by Caliendo, they finally get it here to Basile. And Basile still with Sorella. We're under 3.5 minutes to go in this opening quarter. JP Basile has freed himself and has gotten the game's first goal in the Nassau County B Championship game. The Trojans with a long possession that's already manufactured 4 shots.
This is very characteristic of the Trojans. They really like long possessions. They like to play 6-on-6 rather than get into that running game. They feel that their 6-on-6 is probably as good as any team around.
Stone warning is on for the first time. Atkinson, the jumping shot, and he beats Haggerty with a bouncer. Senior Jamie Atkinson and the Trojans in a game like this. And the great field with a couple of face-off wins and a commanding 2-0 start.
And a nice jump shot. Again, low, high to low, and that gets just under the stick of Brendan Haggerty. Great effort by Jamie Atkinson, who they feel has been playing his best at this time of the year. And that's what you want out of your seniors. You want them playing their best lacrosse come the end of May, beginning of June.
Especially as Steve Fennell commented, he's shooting it the best he ever has.
He is a big-time player.
So Silos and Gunn still in the set position. And finally it is Glynn for the Indians and wins that tough face-off battle as Silos does his job. So here comes Manhasset. They've turned it over a couple of times and they've played a lot of defense as Glynn will go back here to Kevin Mack.
That might have been the first face-off win for Manhasset at this point with just coming up on 2 minutes left in this first quarter.
Luis Perfetto comes on. He's the fourth attackman for the Indians, so a subtle change by Keith Cromwell. We'll see who can win a particular matchup. And here is Perfetto. He's a sophomore, but does have 9 goals, 4 assists. And Perfetto has the Oboa Cody as the D-midi. Glynn, and they get a switch as Wukta is the other D-midi for Garden City. Mack trying to roll back against Hart. Mack outside, here's room and time for Schneider, and the Indians on their first shot of the game get a goal with a flag out. Steven Schneider, who could be Nassau County's Player of the Year, makes it 2-1.
Well, he just is a player, not only between the lines, but he is also an explosive player inside that restraining box, and he just lets a hard shot go. He gets a nice little feed from Mack, who drops it off, and Steve Schneider gets some room, gets some time and space, draws the penalty off the late hit, gets his 35th goal of the season. So here's the opportunity in one motion to be able to come back and tie the game off that first shot, first goal for the Manhasset Indians.
Steven Schneider admitted since last year's county final loss, he has watched that video every few days over the summer, or he had over the summer. And he had been attending the Woodstock Classic since he was 7 years old. To give you a sense of how much this game means, especially to seniors that don't want their careers to end today. So the man-up opportunity, the first one of the game. Throwback by Mulholland. Schneider as Mack thought about the opportunity. Mack dangles, outside it comes. Schneider, and forced back to his left as a good recovery by Garden City inside the final minute of the opening quarter. Mack again tied up, one-handed it to Schneider, inside the crease shot, stop made inside, there by Dolan, in on John Silos.
Dolan just stoned Silos on that one. Silos was right in on the crease, one-on-one, no stick fake, and Dolan just did the job. Whoa, what a save, huge.
Off some great Manhasset ball movement, Bacafola, as he is knocked down, and here comes the first flag against Manhasset, as sophomore Danny Bacafola would not be denied.
Watch this save by Teddy Dolan, maybe the biggest and best save he has made this season. What a pass, right in on the crease area, but Dolan just stayed right with the stick on stick. And at the other end of the field, watch Bacafola, he's gonna get tripped right here, and it's gonna be a trip call, at least I think it should be, for a 1-minute penalty. So you're gonna go from man down for Garden City now to extra man with 30 seconds remaining in this first period. It's enough time to take a shot, and if you don't have a good look, you put it high over the cage, you've got your backup, and you hold it then for the start of the second period.
Teddy Dolan was able to finally pull away from sophomore Eric Muller late in the year, and it's the older player with Dolan 3 years of varsity experience that does it. As Garden City, now with the Mark Silos factor, they may not want to face off to start the second quarter, even though they have the 2-1 edge in that category, but we all saw what Mark Silos did in the semifinal, and then also what he did to the Trojans, facing off at about 66% in the regular season. So they'll take that and carry over a 31-second man-up into the second quarter and have the ball and have the lead. The defending county champions, Garden City and Manhasset, not much that needs to be said from there. We're coming back with more Long Island High School boys lacrosse on Verizon Fios One Sports. It's a 2-1 Garden City lead as we start the second quarter from the Nassau County Class B championship game. And we're in the midst of a good one. Ralph Bednarchik alongside Carrie Gluck. So here are the Manhasset Indians. On the field, they went 14-2, but the St. Anthony's situation gave them a win via forfeiture. But this was a tremendous season. You look at that, their lone loss at right now #1 Darien in the country, Darien of Connecticut, and that was a hard-fought game. Darien eventually pulled away 12-8, so that's how good the Indians have been. And then on the field, they lost to St. Anthony's 14-12. Very little stubs of toes, and it went very smoothly for a first-year head coach we should add in Keith Cromwell that also is missing a key great player.
Oh, they certainly are, and they are still on a 10-game winning streak as they easily handled Calhoun in the quarters, and they just got by a tough Southside team 12-7 in the semis. So they have been battle-tested somewhat, but clearly they have a very tough schedule, and they have really missed probably Jack Keogh, who was an All-American last year. He has been sorely missed by the Indians.
Final 20 seconds of the Garden City man-up, with the second quarter starting without a face-off. So Luke Keating outside for Jamie Atkinson. And Basile with eyes to the front, drops it back, Finn Gibbons. They had the cutter inside, they do, and they get the conversion. It was open initially, and then it was open the second time for Kieran Gunn as Garden City converts the 1-minute man up and lead 3-1.
Well, Gibbons sitting out on that wing, and he plays with his head up. That's a great feed in on Gunn, and look at Gunn off stick side, puts it right on the back pipe. Good shot placement by Kieran Gunn. Good feed by Gibbons. Well executed extra man play by the Trojans to give them that 2-goal lead.
Now for Kieran Gunn, he is primarily the #1 faceoff guy, just his third, a commitment to Dartmouth. He is a lefty that was able to finish with the right hand. He has seen his offensive role expand, including playing in the man-up unit. So that's a big conversion with Finn Gibbons on the assist. Silos, and it's kicked forward. And it would be up to the attackman who went over. And a Manhasset player went over. So Garden City picks it up. They've won 3 out of the first 4. Although, albeit in much different ways. As Dolan here to Luke Keating. So in terms of tempo of the game, Carrie, this is the area, this is the island that Garden City loves to relax in, this kind of tempo.
Well, they like this because it's 6-on-6. They're not forcing the ball. They're not getting themselves into a running game with Manhasset. They're keeping it very simple on the offensive end of the field. They get a lot of touches, they get people involved, and they look for their matchups.
Garden City will stump through the box. Trevor Yeboah-Cody will join the first midfield. The Trojans at 14-3 have won 5 straight. In addition to their loss in the regular season to Manhasset, they lost 7-4 to San Francisco's St. Ignatius Prep, a California team that is loaded with players. And then their season opening loss, annual game they played, open up the season against Syosset 9-5. And among their impressive wins this season, Smithtown West in Suffolk County Class A, they beat them 6-1. You're almost surprised. You understand Smithtown West, they can smother you with their face-off game, but to score just 1 goal says a lot, as Steinbach misses with the shot on the run.
Well, Steinbach looking to go one-on-one, but yeah, you're right. Smithtown West has had an outstanding season, an excellent face-off kid, and you think with the possessions that they probably had against Gunn, they had good looks and had chances to score, but give credit to this stingy Garden City defense. And watch this opportunity by Gibbons. Comes around. I'm sorry, that wasn't Gibbons. That was J.P. Basile coming around with the left hand.
It's a 12-2 number in shots, Gary. I don't know if we expected that, particularly with the way the game not being up-tempo, for it to be 12-2, but factor in a couple of first-quarter Manhasset turnovers.
And factor in long possessions for Garden City as well, Ralph, because when they've had the ball, they've had it for some very long possessions and good looks.
Trevor Yeboah-Cody creates a good look. A sophomore that came up to the varsity late last year with a very big upside, just his 6th goal, and he had the gumption to take this one.
Oh, gumption is right for the sophomore with a man right on him. He leans into the defender. That was Gillen Caliendo, the short stick midfielder, playing Trevor rather, and he does a nice job as Trevor Yeboah Cody attacks the cage with that shot very high to low.
A goal from an unexpected source of offense for Garden City. And Yeboah Cody shows off his potential. And Silos and Gunn, this time we'll get a hold called against Kieran Gunn. So Manhasset looks to get it going quickly to decide that 10-8 regular season meeting. Among the things that really stung Garden City that Steve Fennell talked about, 2 goals in a 13-second span, and also at the end of quarters is where they got bitten. Now, a large part of that, you factor in Mark Silos with that because the face-off game gets you the quick tempo, but just goals at bad times too, taking a 3-2 first quarter game into 5-2, and Garden City was playing uphill since. Today, looks like they're going to play from ahead as this shot by Perfetto is off.
And again, you see how well Manhasset moves the ball, and Perfetto had the shot. But coming back, you know, it's John Silos who has done the damage at the end of the quarters, being able to finish and carry momentum into the next quarter, and that's really what hurt Garden City, as you said, according to Coach Fennell.
Mack gets Hart a little bit off balance. Mack taking the jump shot. Logan Hyde will work against Wukta. Hyde, here comes the double from the backside, Puccio. Manhasset reads it, Silos. And that is a good look, but wide of goal. John Silos, an amazing breakout year, 60 points for a first-year starting senior that had to wait his turn behind some great players, including Matt Gavin. Had just 12 points last year, and just playing off the bench and mop-up time, but a lefty finisher, and gives you a sense of how deep these communities are where someone like that can step in and produce.
That was nice defense being executed by Garden City. That was Matt DeSimplicis.
Mack, there comes the help,
a good double.
And then the scoop and the pickup by Tyler Wukta.
Gotta like the defense Garden City is employing. They're showing a lot of aggressive, looking to double up the ball. Anytime your back is to the doubler, they're gonna look to try and come on them.
Timeout Garden City. They get the clear after the takeaway and have built a 4-1 lead nearly midway through this second quarter.
Watch the footwork, watch the checks, watch the double teams on the defense. As you see, Manhasset looking to come around the cage. There's the double, great check. Again, you see Matt DeSimplicis coming in big with that check, dislodging the ball, creating the turnover.
Steve Fennell was a dynamite midfielder during his playing career, but they have had a tremendous calling card on the defensive end as a program. Last year, #1 in the county at 4.95 goals against. Generally, they've been several times in the last decade #1 in goals allowed. And some of that, maybe numbers can be skewed because of the competition you play. But then when you see them here in a big game, they also find a way to stifle teams that leads to championships.
Now they rise to the occasion in these games. I think they thrive on these championship games in Garden City as well as in Manhasset. They love the big stage. They love to get into these championship games.
Steve Fennell has gotten a chance to coach at higher levels like the Team USA U19 team. And he's only the 4th coach in program history. So where did this come from? Of course, his former coach, Doc Doherty, and then longtime assistant and football coach that he worked under, Tom Flatley. 2 of the best in terms of experience, and you could even say genius when it comes to coaching sports at this level.
Well, you named those 2 guys who probably are 2 of the smartest coaches ever to coach the game on Long Island, in Tom Flatley and Doc Doherty.
And the Trojans defense, you go back to the Hewlett game where they were able to pull away and win that game by a 12-2 final. They've only allowed 1 goal carry in close to 50-0 action. And the Hewlett game, maybe the second team was out there late in the third quarter, but they only beat Hewlett in the regular season in double overtime 4-3. So Steve Fennell was very pleased the way less than a month later they took on Hewlett and completely changed the course of the game to go from a 4-3 double overtime excruciating win to then just blowing a team out 12-2.
Well, you know, that's why they are the #2 defense in Nassau County with only giving up 4.4 goals against. They take great pride in defense, does Steve Fennell, as well as the defensive players.
Atkinson getting a half step on Parisi. He shoots! And right now, Garden City is hitting shots from the perimeter. Jamie Atkinson's second has made it 5-1.
Garden City is just showing its stuff today. They are dominating right now. Look at Atkinson, sweeps across with the right hand. As we said earlier, he is playing his best. He is a big-time player who loves to come step it up in the big game. And that's why last year he was an honorable mention All-American. He's an all-around player. He takes that hard right-handed shot. He is shooting his best right now, according to Coach Steve Fennell. And you see a hard shot going high to low. And look at the face-offs, pretty close. But Atkinson gives them some separation now by 4 goals.
Jamie Atkinson, going back, he has scored in all of the last 4 meetings, Garden City and Manhasset. So he also emerges in these games. He is a quality scorer, but he always finds a way to produce in these. As Steven Schneider ahead here into the stick of Kevin Mack. And where do the Indians go from here? They have had 0 transition opportunities or transition shots. Aiden Mulholland, and they have 5 total shots, but the transition opportunities weren't there. Their face-off advantage is not what it was in the regular season meeting. 2
very big points that you just mentioned, the face-off advantage and the transition. They love that transition game, they love to run, and the defense from Garden City has taken that away.
Glynn down the alley. Gets the shot, and then Dolan has it.
Oh, what a nice save by Dolan. He's feeling it tonight, too. He's in the zone. He comes across very well to the off-stick side and does not give up the rebound. And that is so important, Ralph, not to give up that rebound on that kind of a shot to the back pipe.
Yaboa Cody returns in the next shift after he scored an impressive goal early in this second quarter. And Yaboa Cody now gets the matchup against the long stick midi. And also outside for Finn Gibbons. Garden City, 5 goals. They've shot the ball well. They have not turned it over. They've won the face-off game, and the recipes for success.
2 big keys. Win the face-off game. Don't turn the ball over. Win the ground ball battle. If you can do those things, you're going to come away with a W.
Yaboa Cody with Schneider here staying in as a D-midi. So perhaps something Keith Cromwell doing just to try to ignite some transition, keep him on the field. Gibbons rolls back, frees himself. And a missed opportunity there. Gibbons thought he may have been fouled on it, and Atkinson also pleads the case to Joe Rezambalik. The Trojans had backup. Now Basile out front with under 4.5 to go.
A little bit of an invert for him up at the top because Basile usually likes to work behind the cage.
And the other thing that you notice, Carey, too, is out of the Garden City goals, 4 of them are unassisted. So it's been dodges and shots like this. This one could have been assisted, but there's the save by Haggerty on Gibbons.
And Haggerty made a big save there. That was a good one. But you got to watch the clear. That's a turnover. Watch the unsettled situation now for the Trojans.
Bacafola picked up the ground ball as Haggerty was trying desperately to start some transition, could not. And Garden City will sit on the ball again with under 3:45 left.
They want to get into that 6v6. They had the unsettled situation, but they pull it out and get into the 6-on-6. They don't want to get into that running game. It's clear Garden City's tactic is to play 6-on-6. And look at the turnovers, 5 from Manhasset, none. That's really outstanding lacrosse for Garden City not to have committed a turnover as we're drawing to the end of this second period.
Keating, Gibbons, and he had to one-hand that catch. Great fundamentals there. Finn Gibbons, he did not play in last year's county final. He missed the back quarter of the season with a broken collarbone. We wondered if he could be a bit of an X factor. Certainly, I would imagine his emotions must be running high today because he had to sit and watch that terrific comeback last year. Gibbons, a 3-year starter in the attack, headed to Brown as Atkinson continues to hold.
And Atkinson, having inverted, going behind the cage, takes the pole with him. Or rather the shorty behind the cage.
Atkinson has scored 2. As Colin looks to stay with him. Colin and Caliendo are both returning starters at the D-midi position. Very few programs in the nation have that kind of stability in that one spot. Coughlin, as he was trying to get Atkinson to set a screen, Atkinson went down to the ground. And Coughlin with under 2 minutes to go. Still no store warning yet, but I imagine it may be coming up. Basile out to Atkinson, and he just missed his third. Hard closeout by Conlin as Atkinson again maintaining there could have been a little bit of a late hit.
Yeah, Basile looking to plead his case on the late hit.
And then Basile is tied up. Flag is out against the Trojans. Or I should say against the Indians, as the Trojans will go man up.
There should be a hold, but watch Basile as he looks to swim through, and there's the hold call. And that was a good call by the official as J.P. Basile drew the hold. 30-second opportunity now to go extra man with just under a minute and a half remaining.
Basile has found creases today. The Trojans are already 1 for 1 on man up. They're going to give the foul to Steven Schneider of the Indians for a 30-second hold. Here's the timeout by Keith Cromwell to regroup with about 90 seconds left. It's already 5-1, and this is already getting a sense another goal here could just add so much momentum for Garden City into the locker room. So as Keith Cromwell talks about this, you know, a first-year head coach, Carey, coaching in a championship game, but you look back last year, he had the great Locust Valley team that beat Cold Spring Harbor in the regular season. That might have been Cold Spring Harbor's lone loss last year, if I'm mistaken, but they beat a team that eventually won the state championship in the rematch. Cold Spring Harbor overwhelmed them, but he did get a chance to coach as a head coach in a championship game, so you wonder. And, of course, all those years under Bill Cherry, 4 years as an assistant, playing against Garden City in the regular season and then a number of county finals.
Well, Coach Cromwell is just an excellent coach. He's been here. But I do think that in this game against Garden City and Coach Steve Fennell, that's a tough order for a first-year coach to be able to go into this game against Garden City and Steve Fennell.
Keith Cromwell under Bill Cherry won back-to-back state titles as an assistant in 2010 and 2011. But Steve Fennell, especially last year, the reigning Nassau County Coach of the Year, with the tremendous adversity that they faced as they lost some players during the season off the roster. They had the Ed Blatt situation with a former alumni passing away. Key injuries, Finn Gibbons, he had to truly reshuffle the deck a number of times, both emotionally and on the field, in order for his team, and on top of that, climb out of a 5-1 deficit into the fourth quarter. It may have been his best coaching job.
Well, Coach Fennell knows what it takes to win, and I think his experience, his background, and his ability to be able to get the most out of his players, which is what he did last year, really brought Garden City to another level.
So this possession starts in the stall warning, despite it being a man up. I can't recall ever hearing or seeing that before. So Basile will play it back here to Finn Gibbons. Final 10 seconds of the man up as Garden City is yet to take a shot. Atkinson, and this one off of his stick. And as it bounces out, Steinbach will recover it. We're all even inside the final minutes, but the Trojans do not get a look.
And I think they had every intention of just utilizing the 30 seconds, Ralph. They had no intention of going to the cage. And all I think they want to do right now is just run out the clock for the last 35 seconds or so and go into the locker room with this 4-goal lead.
Luke Keating will play at Division III Power Franklin and Marshall in Pennsylvania. 44 points. And to pick up where he left off of last year's great junior season finish of 20 points.
He's looking to ISO on the shorty behind the cage. Keating normally a midfielder, inverting.
Basile, inside feed, Caliendo got a stick on it, so a big play there to force Garden City's first turnover of the game in the final seconds of the opening half. Manhasset gets the stop they needed. We'll see if they can build off of that, but the Trojans controlling possession and shooting the ball extremely well. And with a lot of energy as they come off the field into the locker room. We're coming back to show you the highlights and the statistics. You're watching the Nassau County Playoffs on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. It is a 5-1 Garden City lead over Manhasset today in the Nassau County Class B Boys Lacrosse Championship game. The Trojans playing extremely well, looking to defend their title. Alongside Carrie Klunk, Ralph Bednarczyk, let's show you our first half highlights. It starts with J.P. Basile.
Well, J.P. coming around the cage with that hard right-handed shot. He comes from X, but don't count out Jamie Atkinson, who's probably playing among his best lacrosse games most recently. And Manhasset answers with Schneider, their only goal of the game by Steve Schneider, the great all-county player from last year. But it's been all Garden City in this first half, getting a lot of opportunities. One of them role players, Yaboa Hakoti, getting in on the shooting action. Again, you see Atkinson, the only player in the first half with 2 goals. They've got 4 different scorers with Atkinson. But there have been some great saves by Dolan, and there is one of them, and here comes another one. Watch the back pipe, and nothing by Dolan. No rebound, holds it tight, gets them into transition. Shots clearly dominated by Garden City. Shots on goal, saves are even, face-offs. The key here is Gunn has not allowed Manhasset the opportunity for a clean win off the face-off and get into the transition game. Ground balls being dominated by Garden City, and turnovers. Clean game by Garden City, only 1 turnover and a half. That's just superb play by these high school players.
This year it'll have to be Manhasset that has the comeback effort. We'll see what they have. 5-1 at the break on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. As we start the third quarter, Garden City leading the Nassau County Class B Championship game 5-1 over rival Manhasset. Carrie, let's have a second look at your Verizon Fios 1 Sports keys to the game.
Well, Garden City has gotten a good result by Gunn. Though he has not won 50%, he is preventing any clean wins and face-off, and they have done a superb job controlling the tempo. Manhasset has had no transition goals, not a one, and they have had very little impact on J.P. Basile. He's got some good looks at the cage.
And Manhasset, in the midst of their great season, they've been doing it without returning All-American Jack Keogh. He would be a 3-year starter. In the first week of practice, he went down with an ankle injury that required surgery. We're talking about someone that last year had 78 points, 25 goals, 53 assists, and even missed the last couple games of the year, the semifinals against Lynbrook, and only played about 4 minutes in the county final last year. Still had 1-1. Jack Keogh is going to go to Johns Hopkins and get healthy, and we wish him the best, but Keith Cromwell saying it's been week to week and an unfortunate situation they've had to deal with. Otherwise, it's a Manhasset attack that looks drastically different.
Well, certainly Keogh really brings a lot to the table for Manhasset, and he is sorely missed. But again, a different game today being played by Manhasset as opposed to earlier in the season.
This one will go out of bounds, belonging to Garden City as it rolled out there, but Manhasset couldn't get there on that loose ball. Mark Silos chased it. So Tyler Wukta here handling for the Trojans. So let's start here, Carrie, with Steve Fennell. You've got a 5-1 lead. You've played as outstanding a first half as you might have hoped for. What do you think the message was to his team?
Hey, let's not change anything. You don't change the wheel if it ain't broke, and it certainly is not broke in this game. They are controlling the tempo, and that I think is probably the most important thing for Garden City. Play 6-on-6, control the tempo of the game, and don't give up any turnovers to allow the broken play or the transition opportunities to Manhasset.
We saw Coach Fennell be very fired up late in the first half as Garden City played with great emotion in those final seconds despite turning it over. He was jumping. Opening minute gone in the third quarter with J.P. Basile handling. Back behind against Ben Sorella. As the Trojans sub through the box, and they will bring back Kyle Steinbach here for Wukta and get their first offensive midfield together. And it'll be Keating to work against Gillen Caliendo. Caliendo caused the only turnover of the second quarter, or first half, I should say, of Garden City, as an early stall warning. Keating turns away from it. Steinbach. The Trojans have to keep it in the box. Atkinson, he'll shoot on the run, and he sticks his third.
What a shot. What a shot by Jamie Atkinson, sweeping to his right. It's the second opportunity that he's been able to sweep in that direction. And look at that shot. It was a rip just under the crossbar. What great placement by Jamie Atkinson. When Coach Fennell said he is shooting his best right now, he's hit the money, on the money with Jamie Atkinson. Not only is he a two-way midfielder, but he has just been explosive today as he gets his hat trick. Right now, third goal of the game with 27 goals on the season.
This is now Kyle Steinbach facing off against Mark Silos. And it's Trevor Yaboa-Cody that comes up with this tough ground ball. So the wings today for Garden City have also won that matchup. In addition to the face-off guys not giving up anything.
And a different look by putting Steinbach in and giving Gunn a little bit of a breather. But Silos now seeing perhaps a little bit of a different style, a different look from Garden City's face-off.
Steinbach will stay on as he's pumped in 16 goals this season as his offensive game has evolved. Also, Chris Glynn stays out here as a D-midi, so we've seen the subtle changes made by Keith Cromwell to keep one of his offensive middies out on defense that perhaps could make a difference if they get the ball.
And maybe be able to initiate some quick transition.
Conlon remains in as the D-midi. Atkinson, oh, that was a bullet. He had a target picked out.
And he had time, he had space. The slide came late as the pass back over the shoulder gives Atkinson some room to be able to step down and shoot, and he just put it high. I think he'd like to have that one back.
Atkinson looks over and even communicates there to Steve Fennell, who runs the offense. And it appears Manhasset, Gary, may have switched even to a zone look. So the first time that we have seen this, with the D-midi, Chris Glynn playing inside on the crease.
Dropping the shorty down low.
So Basile, stall warning on for the second time.
This is their normal offense. The stall is really no different than what they normally run, because this is their normal offense to go 6-on-6 and just take time off the clock. They don't care that the stall warning is on, as long as they keep it in the box, and they've got the sticks to be able to do that.
Coughlin and lost it, and Parisi is able to scoop up that loose ball, and Manhasset just needed a mistake. And Hegarty is on it. Sorella searches for an open teammate. Ben Sorella will handle and rip it ahead. And finally, the Indians are on attack for the first time in the second with 4.5 minutes gone. Steve Schneider. Glynn out front. The lone goal scored by the Indians. Steve Schneider on a step-down shot from Kevin Mack, creating and drawing a slide. Schneider will try to do that on the run. Not a great angle, and he may have forced it. Bacafola came over with the help and somehow vacuumed the ground ball.
And I thought there might have been a little bit of a back check as they were looking to drive the alley. Nice job again by the defense.
Yeboah Cody, and inside was Puccio, but Garden City is offsides. So a mistake by the Trojans, and that takes away a potential scoring opportunity. So the Indians out ahead with Ed Arnold. Mack, they're trying to initiate and start some offense. Manhasset, the fewest goals they've scored this season. They've been held to just 8 twice as Mack is taken down. Here comes the flag. So he is the aggressor. They may get Puccio, and Mack will get Manhasset's second man up.
Well, he looks to drive the cage from X, and as he comes around, he uses that left hand. Watch him play a little cat and mouse behind the cage, looks to get goal line extended. He does just that, and he takes that left-handed shot, goes low to low, just puts it wide of the cage, but does draw the penalty on the shot.
Kevin Mack, in his 3rd year in the varsity, has had a lot of great numbers in his career. Team leader in points with 62 against the schedule that Manhasset plays against, 55 last year. In the regular season meeting, he had a goal and 2 assists. So the man up begins. The earlier man up by Manhasset, remember, was the great save by Ted Dolan inside on John Silos, right on the doorstep. Glynn out front. Schneider inside, turnaround shot, Perfetto. May have been off the side of cage.
I think the shot by Perfetto was just wide. He looks to try and finesse it in on the near side and does not quite put it on the cage.
And Manhasset turns it over on the ensuing restart. There's still 32 seconds remaining on the man down. And now Garden City looks for the clear.
Nice job getting the clear with the man down. Basile getting looked to double up.
Coughlin will catch up to that ball and get it into the stick of Finn Gibbons. Final 5 seconds, and the penalty is going to expire as Steinbach will step on. And Manhasset only got that one shot from the angle by Louis Perfetto. And we're already past the midway point of the 3rd quarter. Just 1 goal scored by Jamie Atkinson. As the defender fell down, Gibbons trying to take advantage. Does! Quick stick inside. He finds Luke Keating on the cut.
What a nice cut and what an excellent feed by Gibbons. Finn Gibbons usually sits on that left wing, and now he looks to drive the cage, and he comes out to the left. Watch the little roll move here. Comes out with the stick in his left hand, and he's got his head up. That's the key. He had his head up, and he found Cool Hand Luke coming down from the midfield to be able to put that one in. Cool Hand Luke gets the goal.
Keating for sure had the goal. Now as we look at it, it may have been Basile. The 1 and the 7 on the jersey look so similar. And the way they fed it, but either way, it is a terrific pass from the wing, and it is a commanding 7-1 Garden City lead This was not a score we anticipated. And Mark Silos against Kyle Steinbach. And the freshman Silos has had a lot of older players he's battled against today. This one out of bounds, and again, the wings of Garden City have just done enough to be scrappy, and they get the last touch, and Keith Cromwell maintaining there could have been at least a hold there.
Well, it was clearly kicked out also by Manhasset, but what I think has been instrumental to the success on the faceoffs have been the wings, because they've not only taken away the clean win by Silos, but they've also made it more of a scrum, and the wings from Garden City have really played a major role in coming up with those loose balls.
So here's Keating behind. We have clarification based on another replay carry. It was J.P. Basile and his number 1 that looks a little bit like a 7 that had that feed. Manhasset is able to get a knockdown. Nolan Parisi chases, and we'll get a loose ball push called against the Trojans to give the ball back to the Indians. So Basile with a goal and an assist. Luke Keating making it 7-1, and here we are with under 4 minutes left in the third quarter as Ed Arnold transitions. Arnold with room, and a great lunging back check from behind with a late flag coming out. Danny Bacafola made a great play as Arnold is down, but Bacafola made a great play to prevent the shot.
Well, Bacafola's hustle. What hustle by Danny Bacafola, the sophomore. Watch him in the picture. There is the check on the back check, and I believe they will then call the slash, as it might have caught the shoulder or the hand on the shot. But just great effort. Outstanding for the sophomore Danny Bacafola, who played the pole last year as a 9th grader for Garden City.
So Mack will have it with a full 1-minute foul against Phil Puccio, and that takes arguably Garden City's best defender off the field, a senior that will play at Bucknell. That was all-county honorable mention, although the young players that they have could certainly make a very good argument. So,
well, they've had an extra man with 1 minute in the last opportunity that they got just one shot that went wide. Manhasset really has to put one on the board here.
Dolan makes the save on Mack, and he's got possession with 40 seconds to go on the man down. And ahead comes Yubioa Cody. And into the snick of Bacafola. However, another offsides against the Trojans.
Second time they've been offsides. And Teddy Dolan has just been playing outstanding in this game. Look how he gets his body behind the ball, steps to it. A goalie, just like Dolan did there, has got to step to the ball and get your body behind it, because if the stick doesn't make the save, let your body make the save, and that's what Dolan did right there. Great job, and it was a nice timeout called for by Fennell. He's got to straighten out why they're getting offsides on this man down clear.
It's an unusual situation to be offsides on. And he's trying to get an explanation here from Joe Rezem-Pollock. Meanwhile, for Garden City, in games like this, you expect seniors to rise to the occasion, especially players that have been around a long time. 4 years in the varsity, 3 years starting. Jamie Atkinson has 3.
Big-time players rise to the occasion in the big games, and that's Jamie Atkinson's middle name. Big time, because he was an all-around honorable mention All-American last year. He just does it all. He's able to sweep with his right hand. He's got the hard shot. He's shooting as well as you could expect from him at this point in the season. He's a two-way midfielder. He's the throwback to the old-style midfielder, Ralph. He plays defense, and he's capable of really ripping it on the offensive end.
3 goals on 7 shots. Could have had a 4th as he just cleared the crossbar. And he's just been such a warrior, 3rd member of his family to play lacrosse at Garden City, with a brother John at Richmond, sister Caitlin played and then eventually fenced at Duke. So he has been very much engulfed in this tradition. Been a varsity football star we've had on Verizon 501 Sports during his career. Last year was an all-county running back and wide receiver that won the Long Island Championship. So big opportunity again for the Indians. They need to cut into this lead quickly. Mack, a trail check by Hart, forced it free. Still 10 seconds remaining on the Puccio foul. Mack did not have a cutter, so he'll circle with Gormley on his hands. And Schneider did not locate anyone in the crease. And we are all even and settled with under 3 minutes left to go.
What a nice job by the man-down defense. They have not given anything to Manhasset on the extra man.
Schneider and Carey, besides the shot he had for the goal, I can't recall Steven Schneider having another shot. Here comes the cutter. There it is, Hyde, and his bouncer hit the left pipe, and then they'll say it went in. Logan Hyde, well-timed cut. Manhasset finally breaks through in the third quarter to make it 7-2.
Nice cut by Logan Hyde, the junior. He does an excellent job getting himself to be able to get the feed, and there is the feed. And that ball just comes off the pipe on the inside, and the official right there calls the goal. You see the net ripple just a touch off the pipe, and Logan Hyde gets him on the board. First goal since the first period, as we're down to just 2:21 remaining in this third.
And procedure called against Kyle Steinbach. So with 2:20 to go, this you can label as Manhasset momentum. John Silos, who got credited with the assist. And here is Mack. Mack men out front with Hart, who's done well with his angles. Hyde looking to roll back against Yeboah Cody. And Glenn not in a shooting lane. If the Indians can get one here just to make it the 7-3 into the fourth to generate some life. Schneider tries to do that and may have forced it. Dolan does not have a problem with it.
No, Schneider puts that one high on the stick side of Dolan and made it an easy save for the fourth save of the game for Teddy Dolan.
Garden City gets into the box, and we'll see if they look to salt away the remainder of this third quarter. They've gotten goals from Atkinson and Keating. They came earlier in the period. As Schneider remains in as the defensive midi with Keating looking to take him for a run. The Trojans trying to upend the Indians for the second straight year in the county final. And the two teams meeting for the fourth time in the last 7 years. These two programs play in what's called the Woodstick Classic. It's the longest continuous lacrosse rivalry in the nation. They first played every single year since 1935. Handled back behind by J.P. Basile. And then Finn Gibbons. They've been playing the Woodstick Classic for 128 versions of it. However, in a county championship game, this is just the 10th meeting, with the two teams being in different classifications for many years, and then not necessarily having a structured playoff system until you get up into the 60s and 70s. As there's a shot by Keating with just 1 second remaining in the third quarter. Garden City enhances its lead. They are 12 minutes away from shutting down one of the island's top offensive units and sweeping Manhasset for the season series. 7-2 is our score as we head to the fourth quarter. We're back with the Nassau County Class B championship game on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. Garden City with a 7-2 lead as we start the fourth quarter with Carrie Gluck, Ralph Bednarczyk bringing you the 2017 Nassau County Class B championship game. A year ago, it was senior Sam Lucchese that rose to the occasion, eventually won the starting job late last year. And this year, it looks like it's the same recipe of success junior Ted Dolan has had.
Well, Dolan is in the zone in this game. He has just come up with some huge saves, as you see right there. One that was right on the doorstep. He's moving very well. He's stepping to the ball. His reactions are very good. Watch his clears. He's done an excellent job. Look at that one, stick high, made that one easy, really. by Schneider's shot put it right up on the stick side. He has done a superb job tonight, and he is part of the reason why Garden City is leading this game by 5 goals. And look at him talking to his defense. He knows that the defense and he work together as a unit. There's got to be communication from Dolan to those poles down low.
Dolan did not play in last year's final, but as a freshman in 2015, he did play, made 3 saves in the epic 8-7 Manhasset overtime win in the semifinal game, a game we did on Fios, and there was a great finish to it at the end of regulation as J.P. Basile tied it before Manhasset won. So he's been on this stage. Senior Sam Lucchese earned the job by a narrow margin last year, but this is Dolan's opportunity. Here's Luke Bastiglione now from Manhasset. His shot on the run is off. But Silos backs it up. Crease feed inside, Perfetto, and he's got a quick one to start the 4th. It's cut to 4 with a lot of time left.
That was an excellent goal by Louis Perfetto. After the shot, the follow-up gets a nice feed. Silos finds Perfetto off the cut on the crease. Now earlier, Perfetto had an opportunity down low, didn't finish here. He has an opportunity and makes sure he puts this one in. And what a good opportunity for Louis Perfetto, the sophomore, getting the experience in this championship game. He knows what it's going to take next year when they possibly return to this Class B championship one more time.
Started the season in the JV. Got some experience, went back down to the JV before Keith Cromwell said, you know, he's got to stay with us. And Mark Silos, this is what he looked like in the entire semifinal against Southside, and now a flag is out against Garden City as the Indians have come out with emotion that we have not seen at all today until now.
Well, the momentum now is with the Indians. They draw the trip penalty. Here's Silos with the ball. Watch the check and watch the little bit of a trip. And there it is as he looks to go down right there. They caught the foot, the 2 feet. Wukta just accidentally caught the foot of Silos, and that's where the trip became a penalty, and it's a 1-minute opportunity now for Manhasset. Now, they did not succeed on the last 2 1-minute penalties. If they can put one in here, the momentum clearly will be back with the Indians even more than what it is right now.
Silos skips it. Here's the look for Schneider. There it is. A man-up conversion, and here come the Indians. Steven Schneider's 2nd of the game.
The first extra man goal. And look at the step down that Schneider had time and space, and he plays a beautiful shot. Back pipe, off stick, forces Dolan to have to move to his weak side to be able to come up with that shot as Steven Schneider gets goal number 2 today. And the Indians are back within 3.
This will be Kyle Steinbach against Mark Silos of Manhasset. And this time it's Glenn off the wing. So Manhasset has changed the momentum as Mark Silos has started winning faceoffs. A dynamic freshman, and they've said is a grinder that has gotten a lot better. He has started to figure out whoever's been in front of him today.
Well, he drew that one back between the legs. He knew where his wingman was, and he played it right to him, right in the stick of Glenn.
Schneider, and the throwback is deflected by Bacafola's stick. Perfetto remains out there as he and Logan Hyde have both taken turns at that 3rd attack spot. Perfetto has whooped up. And Perfetto, he hits a terrific shot. He has come off the bench and been a spark. Louis Perfetto has 2 quick goals in the 4th quarter, and the Indians have awoken.
Perfetto, the sophomore, looking to attack from X. And he's done a beautiful job He is explosive. Once he gets goal line extended, he has the opportunity to be able to finish that one off very nicely. Perfetto's the last 2 goals, 2 out of the 3, gives him 11 goals now on the season.
Steinbach this time adjusts and gets it to Bacafola. And Basile has his stick helicopter out of his hands, and we get procedure as Basile took a step or 2 without the stick. That's all it takes to get that foul called against you.
Right, cannot play without the stick, and the referee rules that once he made that step, he was interfering in the play.
So here comes Kevin Mack. Mack has been held to just an assist, as Hart stays with him and passes him off to Gormley. Logan Hyde returns, and Perfetto remains out there. So they go kind of with a 4 attackman look carry. First time we've seen both Perfetto and Hyde, and it looks like Silos is out in the midfield, and that's indeed where he is. Schneider looking for the throwback. Mack rolling back as Gormley stays with him. Then the bouncer may have been forced. Puccio reaching for it, and Puccio kind of hockey sticks it along. He lost it out in front with a goal, and the flag is out. What will they rule as the officials talk and they discuss and they grant the goal? Manhasset comes up with a loose ball. They've made it 5 in a row to cut it to 1.
Everything is going the way of the Indians right now. Not only is Mo becoming the 11th player on the field, the foul. Watch, there's the push. Here's where he tries to go back to Dolan, intercepted by Perfetto. The push call into the crease is wiped out by the goal, but Perfetto, I believe, is going to get credit for that goal. That is now 3 out of the last 4 for Perfetto, as he has brought the Indians back on his shoulders. This sophomore is carrying. He's not the guy that you would think is going to be the goal scorer for Manhasset. You expect that you're going to get something from Schneider, you're going to get Mack, you're going to get Silos, but now this kid Perfetto has really helped to bring them back, and Mo is the 11th player on the field right now for the team in white.
And that momentum belongs to the Indians, and Garden City will calm it with Wukta coming up with it off the wing. Louis Perfetto, just the 2nd time this year and in his career, has scored 3 goals. The other time he did it in a lopsided win at Hewlett. And what a change made by Keith Cromwell. And while that one, he was Johnny on the spot for, the other 2 goals were outstanding, especially to come in to the game, watch it, and then produce.
You know, in these kind of big games, you need somebody as a role player who steps up big, and Perfetto is just filling that role today. He's under the radar. No one's expecting him to have the game that he's having at this particular moment and this particular point in the game.
Steinbach. So now there's a ton of time in a 1-goal game as Atkinson catches that. And a year ago, it was a 5-1 Manhasset lead into the 4th that Garden City scored 6 unanswered on and pulled it out with a 7-5 win.
How reminiscent is this?
Keating, and he had a good look as he got away from Conlin, the D-midi. Conlin did well just to tie him up a bit.
Keating going from X again, inverted, had the shorty behind the cage, looked to attack the cage and looked to see if once getting past goal line extended, he was able to come around with that left hand.
Ed Arnold against Basile. Earlier carry, so here's another change by Keith Cromwell with Sorella now on Atkinson. Basile. And Arnold bothers him enough. Steinbach. Basile High pass, no store warning in effect, so he was able to go outside the restraining box.
The refs letting Garden City play.
Steinbach, hard closeout and by Conlon, and there's the late flag. Conlon thought he was okay. It'll lead to a Garden City man up. Peter Conlon, tough rebounder during varsity basketball. They love him playing this thankless D-midi position.
There you'll watch now. There's the shot, and there you see Conlon come in for a 1-minute penalty against Manhasset. Conlon now on the sideline. Now, can Garden City take advantage of this extra man? They have not had many opportunities with the EMO over the course of this game.
1 for 2 for the Garden City man-up unit. They had a 2-1 lead at the end of one, 5-1 into the half, 7-1 midway through the third quarter. Before just a couple of small plays, the Indians started feeling good about themselves. Mark Silos converted some face-offs after the initial goal. Basile, and the bouncer goes wide. And a couple of Garden City offsides fueled this Manhasset comeback that took the ball away from them. Quick stick inside, and a bit unsettled, and Manhasset caught ball watching. That time it was absolutely Finn Gibbons in the pass. Luke Keating finishes it, the man-up goal to make it a 2-goal margin.
Hey, Coolan Luke puts it on the board. Watch the quick start now by Garden City. Quick start. They're getting set. Gibbons has his head up. Look at Keating right in on the doorstep. The defender who was marking and defending against Luke steps up to go up top and left Keating wide open down low. Again, there's a defensive miscue on the part of Manhasset to give back a 2-goal lead, but heads-up play by Finn Gibbons behind the cage. He's got his head up, and he was very alert to the fact that Keating was wide open.
Steinbach down to a knee, hold called against Steinbach, gives the ball back to Manhasset. And here comes the Indians' first midfield. Or they actually will change it up and bring on 8th grader Aiden Mulholland, 29 in white. Amazing individual story. Here he is, believed to be the first ever 8th grader in all the years, the 100+ years of Manhasset lacrosse. He is the first one to make the team, and he is not just the backup goalie. And he plays as typically the 4th midfielder, and he sees a lot of action, already verbally committed to Michigan. 11 points in the season, and Mulholland is on the field in this big set. Schneider.
The confidence that Coach Cromwell has in Mulholland, putting him out there now with the team trailing by 2.
Mack tried to get the shot off. Wukta was able to knock him out. Mack will pick it up. And Mack stepped in, his right foot, and
mental mistake by Kevin Mack. You can't make those mistakes against Garden City.
And with 4:40 to go, how many more possessions will the Indians get? Hart hitting Atkinson in stride, and a flag is out. Atkinson appeared like he may have lost his balance initially. And we'll need to get a second look, but with 4:29 to go, a 1-minute call coming up against Manhasset.
A slash call right there, as you see, as Mack was going down, John Silos gets called for the slash to the helmet. That's a tough call because he was falling down at the time.
Jamie Atkinson had already lost his balance, and a great look at that from our crew. It was not the slash that caused him to fall, but the slash that followed. And Keith Cromwell's team, down a man, they climbed within 7-6 with a lot of time left. And Garden City, how will they approach this full 1 minute? Do they take the time, or do they look for the third goal?
I think if I'm Coach Fennell, I think we're going to look to take the time. Unless you've got the layup, you're going to look to take a minute off the clock. And you see how well they are spread out. They're not looking to go to the cage. They're looking to open up the defense and just keep the ball out on the perimeter and wait for the minute to expire.
Ten seconds to go. Garden City leading the Nassau County Class B championship game 8-6. They had this game in hand. You figured the Indians would put together a run, and they have, climbing out of a 7-1 margin, and we are all even. Garden City still in a stall warning. 3:20 to go.
In lacrosse, that's a lot of time, but this is the typical Garden City offense, the 6-on-6, whether they went 6-on-5 or 6-on-6, they were in their regular set offense. Keep the ball in the box, look for a matchup, don't take a shot unless you have the nice layup.
And Manhasset realizes it, now they double the ball. Hegarty is out of cage. Hegarty recovers, and then the double team forces the ball out. Yeboah Cody has it. Did the Trojan get the timeout? And they are going to grant Garden City the timeout with 2:47 to go, as Trevor Yeboah Cody was in trouble.
A great timeout called for by Stephen Fennell. A fortuitous timeout with Yeboah Cody in trouble, getting double and triple teamed up at the top of the restraining line, and Coach Fennell calls that timeout.
Garden City and Manhasset, two of the most proud programs in lacrosse in the country and certainly on the island. A program that has won, as we look at the past champions in Class B, Garden City last year. You simply don't win in this classification without going through one of these two. And now with Manhasset's enrollment kind of being solidified, they were a Class C school where they battled Cold Spring Harbor 7 straight years through the 2000s before they moved back up to 2011. And we've all been the beneficiaries. In the 90s, the lacrosse fans had it, and now the Manhasset enrollment looks like they're going to stay here, and we look like we have maybe decades more of this.
Hey, this is great lacrosse, Ralph. This is what people pay the price of admission for, to see these two teams go at it head-to-head, not once, but twice during the season.
And it was interesting as we researched, Gary, that many times the winner of the Woodstock Classic has also generally won the championship game. Very few times where they've split, and the loser of the game in the regular season won it. That last happened in the 2013 season, where Manhasset won the regular season, meeting Garden City in the finals. So that can happen. 6th time in the last 7 years they've met in the playoffs. Out of those 6, 4 of them in the final. 3 of them were 1-goal games, and this one may be added to that list. Finn Gibbons gets into the box. Stall warning back in effect. Brendan Hegarty here defending. He is out of cage. Keating, not interested in taking the layup. He's double teamed and sandwiched. Peter Conlon comes up with it, and Conlon looking for Arnold. Arnold had it checked away, and Manhasset gets the timeout. The Indians are granted the timeout just as Ed Arnold was able to find an opening before Kyle Steinbach may have had a chance to strip him with 2:23 to go. And the Indians will need a clear, and they'll have an opportunity.
What a great timeout called for by Coach Cromwell. But you'll see Luke Keating, he gets doubled right here, and the ground ball being scooped up by Manhasset. Peter Conlon coming up with that loose ball, but fortuitous timeout once again called for by Coach Cromwell, as he saw the trouble that Manhasset was in with the pole coming and getting that ball.
So, Gary, what's the concept? Certainly, I don't know if they have had an offense designed for sophomore Louis Perfetto, but he has 3 of their 4 fourth-quarter goals. Steven Schneider has the other. And let's show you how Perfetto and the Indians have done this It all started at the end of the third quarter with this Logan Hyde goal to cut it to 7-2 heading into the fourth.
Logan Hyde, the junior, it's been done by the underclassmen, the guys who are not supposed to be the main scorers, and Perfetto getting one of his goals right there. And it's been a comeback as Schneider adds to it. That's goal 3, and then the next 2 are all going to be Perfetto. Goal line extended, gets the opportunity, and watch as he just anticipates the little goose back to the goalie Dolan and intercepted, and just again great, and what an outstanding effort on the part of Perfetto, a sophomore who's going to have a great future with the Indians for the next 2 years.
Steven Schneider starts with it, and he will direct it through Brendan Haggerty. Haggerty locating Schneider. At Schneider, a rare transition chance, and it's checked away. Schneider lost his stick, but there, Johnny on the spot to pick it up is Luke Bastiglione. And
That's
the
a
Indians,
big ground ball.
and they are still alive with about 2 minutes to go. Perfetto. And they'll go through the senior Mack. Mack into the rocker step. Looking to roll back as Hart has had that great matchup today. Backup belongs to Perfetto.
You know, one of the things I've noticed over the course of the second half, the turnovers by Manhasset have been minimal. They had too many in the first half, and they've only had now 3.
Shot by Perfetto.
That was quite an accomplishment, a change from the first half, Ralph.
Can the Indians get one to get freshman Mark Silos to the face-off X? Mack inside Silos, and the save made inside by Dolan. As Garden City rakes for the ball, Puccio has it, then was stripped. Mack in traffic has it. He is surrounded, and it's in behind, but did Manhasset get the timeout before? One official maintains it will be Manhasset ball, as Mack was sandwiched and suffocated by 3 Trojans. During that juncture is where the Indians used the timeout.
Again, an excellent timeout called for by Coach Cromwell. He had to make sure he kept possession. You can't give it up now. There's a nice feed right there. What a nice save by Dolan. And look at the ground ball and the pressure now being exerted. And right there, as soon as he gets it, that's where the timeout's called. He's double teamed, and yet Cromwell is able to call the timeout. That was just a super call by Coach Cromwell.
The Trojans came up with a big save, but not at least the chance to clear. They had an opportunity to make one pass out, but the Indians have battled back and relented. And all season long, when you look at their schedule, they have not been in this situation. Fewest goals scored all year was 8 against the quality of Darien and Chaminade. They won the Chaminade game. So for their offense to be as dormant as it was, you anticipated they could have a spurt in them. Great crowd on hand to watch this one that slowly filed in for a late afternoon start here to Hofstra Stewart Stadium. The winner off to the Long Island Class B championship game against East Islip or Eastport South Manor. 2 teams that are solid, that will be playing on a bigger stage, and programs that, or at least players on those programs that haven't played in a county or Long Island championship. The winner of this game could win the entire New York State B championship. They are that good in the way things line up around New York. Schneider. He was looking for Glynn. Bacafola continues to be all over his hand as this sophomore has made quite the name for himself this spring. Mack with under a minute to go. Tries to squeeze through. Dolan makes another high save. Puccio flipping it back. It's still loose. Puccio still flips it back. Eventually got it to Dolan. And now the Trojans are 45 seconds away. D-Mitty, Matt Granville to Wukta as the Trojans crowd celebrates, and now there is a flag out. This is going to be an offsides against the Indians. Wukta fires it for Atkinson. We have a stoppage for the offsides. And Ted Dolan asking his crowd to start to celebrate because this one appears like it is in hand.
Here's the last opportunity. Look at the save by Dolan, and look at the nice play, the effort by Manhasset to be able to get something off. But Puccio does a smart thing, gets it to his goalie, Dolan, who has just been outstanding over the course of this game.
Ted Dolan, I'm sure he remembered sitting and watching last year's county final. He has been prepared today, and probably even remembering when he was a freshman losing, the heartbreak, losing when he was in goal in double overtime in the semifinals that season. So the 30-second offsides, Manhasset with under a half minute to go. We'll have to try to get the ball back, down a man.
They double team the ball right off the start. Garden City giving it into the stick of Basile.
Brendan Hegarty, the goalie, comes up with it. Still an opportunity. Hart, though, comes up with it with under 10. Colin Hart will run it behind. Hart will flip it into the corner, and Garden City can start their celebration. The Trojans go back-to-back in Nassau County, breaking the hearts of the Indians again. They hold on for an 8-6 win and are headed back to the Long Island Class B championship game.
What an outstanding game, as we expected, Ralph. A 2-goal game. That was the difference in the first time these two teams met. You got to give credit to Manhasset. The game was in the hands of Garden City from the start, and Manhasset never said die. They fought back. They chipped away 1 goal at a time, and that's what you have to do. And give credit to Garden City. They never lost their poise. They maintained their defense that just played outstanding. Dolan was outstanding in the goal, but Manhasset fought back to bring it within 1. And this was the game that we expected from the top 2 teams in the B class in New York State.
Manhasset is held to a season low 6 goals as their season ends officially 15-2. A fired up Steve Fennell and Garden City. They're going back to the Long Island final. We are coming back with post-game reaction on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. The Garden City defense pulls off a spectacular feat today as they shut down the Manhasset Indians in an 8-6 finish to the 2017 Nassau County Class B championship game. Offensively, Jamie Atkinson led the way with 3 goals. He is on the field with Carey Gluck.
Jamie, 3 goals, but that was not the story. What was the difference today from the first time you played Manhasset earlier this year?
I think our defense, we played really physical. We sort of took 32 and 22. They're really great players. Try to take them out of the game as much as possible. But I think our defense won this game, that game.
Talk about this defense to hold the Manhasset to 6 goals, the lowest output over the course of the season, and the job Dolan did in the cage.
I mean, 33, Tyler Wukta, absolute beast. Shorts teammate, same as 30, Matt Granville. Our pole, Danny Bach, he's a sophomore. He had to cover Schneider's going to UNC, All-American midi. I think he played a great job on him. Puccio, 23, same as our Colin Hart, Timmy Gormley. Teddy in net. Teddy made every save. He bailed us out a bunch of times.
Manhasset's a great team. What's going through your mind when they cut it to 7-6?
I mean, last year, we were down by 5 in the same exact situation, so I was thinking, it's happening again to us, but our coach brought us together, and it was a team effort. We scored another one, hold the ball at the end, and it was great. It's a great feeling.
Great job. How do you feel now going to the Long Island Championship against either East Islip or Eastport?
Super pumped. Last year we fell short to Shoreham, so hopefully we make a run this year. I think we got it.
Well, good luck to you and good luck to the Trojans in that Long Island Championship game. And back to you, Ralph.
Thank you, Carey. Jamie Atkinson, one of the indispensable senior leaders of this Garden City team. They celebrate the program's 24th Nassau Championship. They've won 17 at the Long Island level. And they'll have an opportunity coming up in their next game and then eventually to try to add to their 6 state championships. Atkinson scores 3 of their first 6 goals to build up a 7-1 lead. Manhasset had cut it to 7-6 with a lot of time left before the Trojans got the insurance, and then their defense handled the rest. A thrilling game, 2 terrific programs that will probably be back once again for many, many years and decades, playing and competing for a championship. For our entire crew today, from Hofstra Stewart Stadium, this game being produced and directed by Frank Squandro, and from my partner, Carrie Gluck, I'm Ralph Bignorchik, thanking you for watching the Nassau County Playoffs on Verizon Fios One Sports.
This has been a special presentation of Verizon Fios One Sports.